Taiju, a determined student, plans to confess his feelings to Yuzuriha, his longtime friend. After seeking support from his best friend Senku, a science prodigy, Taiju musters the courage and approaches Yuzuriha. However, just as he is about to confess, a mysterious green light engulfs the world, petrifying all humans in stone. Thousands of years later, Taiju awakens, driven by his love for Yuzuriha. He finds her still petrified beside the same tree, now much larger, and vows to save her. Taiju soon reunites with Senku, who reveals that it's the year 5738, and he's been planning to restart civilization. Together, they begin the task of rebuilding humanity, with Taiju gathering food while Senku focuses on science. They discover that nitric acid from bat guano can free petrified creatures and work to refine the process using grapes to create wine. After many experiments, they successfully free a bird from stone, proving Senku's theory that science can defeat this mysterious petrification. Now, the duo is determined to use science to save the world. After freeing a petrified bird, Taiju asks Senku what their next step is. Senku says they'll eventually need to free all of humanity, but they should choose carefully. Taiju's obvious choice is Yuzuriha, still holding on to a tree. Before freeing her, a lion appears, and Senku explains that animals now rule the stone world. The boys flee and free Tsukasa Shishio, the strongest high schooler, who swiftly kills the lion. Though Tsukasa helps with hunting and survival, Senku grows wary of his strength. Tsukasa suggests only reviving young people to create a new world, free of corrupt adults. However, Senku opposes this idea, determined to revive everyone with science. Tsukasa, holding a grudge from the past, destroys a statue, symbolizing his intent to prevent the return of a flawed world. Senku remains resolute in his goal to save everyone, setting the stage for a potential conflict between them. Senku rejects Tsukasa's idea of purifying humanity, but knows Tsukasa is dangerous. When Taiju announces the revival fluid is ready for Yuzuriha, Tsukasa becomes curious. Senku uses this moment to distract Tsukasa and secretly formulates the fluid. Taiju pours it on Yuzuriha, freeing her from the stone, but their reunion is short-lived as Tsukasa returns, now openly revealing his plan to eliminate adults. Tsukasa's intent to kill becomes clear, and Taiju tries to stop him, backed by Senku's crossbow. Tsukasa easily blocks the attack and knocks Taiju down, but Taiju remains standing, insisting on peace. Senku realizes they can't win in a direct fight and suggests fleeing while searching for scientific weapons to stop Tsukasa. The trio flees, eventually reaching a Buddha statue, which they plan to strip for bronze. After resting, Senku reveals their next move, creating gunpowder to fight back. Meanwhile, Tsukasa begins to suspect their plans, realizing they won't give up without a fight. The stakes rise as Senku prepares for a showdown, using science to challenge Tsukasa's strength. While relaxing at the hot springs, Yuzuriha asks Taiju what he wanted to say 30,700 years ago. Taiju delays his confession until they've rebuilt civilization. The next day, Senku gathers materials for gunpowder: sulfur, charcoal, and potassium nitrate mixed with sugar. During preparation, a near explosion reminds Senku of the danger, but it confirms their formula works. Senku decides to use the gunpowder to negotiate with Tsukasa. However, a smoke signal from another group of humans forces him to reveal their location. Tsukasa finds Yuzuriha and takes her hostage, demanding Senku stop reviving science. Senku bluffs but is forced to reveal the recipe for the revival fluid when Yuzuriha is threatened. Tsukasa offers to spare Senku if he gives up science, but Senku refuses, knowing it's essential to his identity. Disappointed, Tsukasa delivers a fatal blow, leaving Taiju to witness his friend's tragic fate. Tsukasa tells Senku that in another world they could have been friends, but in the stone world, Tsukasa kills Senku in front of Taiju and Yuzuriha. Overwhelmed with grief, Taiju is about to act out, but Yuzuriha reminds him of their promise to fight alongside Senku using science. Taiju hurls a boulder, while Yuzuriha throws gunpowder at Tsukasa, creating an explosion. This allows them to escape with Senku's body, though Tsukasa is mostly unharmed. Tsukasa believes Senku can't be saved in a world without doctors. However, Taiju and Yuzuriha recall Senku's determination to save everyone. They notice a small patch of petrification left on his neck, realizing that he must have left it intentionally. They believe the revival fluid will heal his broken neck when the petrification is undone. With hope, they pour the fluid on Senku and beg him to wake up. As Senku's life flashes before him, he recalls his journey after awakening in the stone world. From his first failed attempts at creating fire to mastering the use of tools, Senku reflects on humanity's unique ability to harness science. He had declared himself the first human of Stone World, determined to rebuild civilization from scratch. After spending a long day in the Stone World, Senku has met his basic needs, but realizes he needs more manpower to progress. He digs up Taiju's petrified statue and tries to revive him using nitric acid. When the acid alone doesn't work, Senku deduces that depetrification requires additional factors, such as staying conscious during petrification. After more experiments, Taiju finally awakens. In the present, Taiju calls for Senku to wake up, just as Senku once did for him. Senku awakens, and the friends share a heartfelt reunion. However, they soon decide to part ways. Taiju and Yuzuriha will spy on Tsukasa's new empire, while Senku sets off to create a kingdom of science. Meanwhile, in the mountains, a newcomer named Kohaku confronts Tsukasa. She belongs to a new generation, born after the petrification event, and witnessed Tsukasa's attack on Senku. Despite her fighting skill, Tsukasa overpowers her, trapping her beneath a tree before leaving to secure more revival fluid. Senku eventually finds Kohaku. He asks if she'd prefer him to blow up the tree or take his time freeing her. She agrees to wait, and after several hours, Senku builds a pulley system to lift the tree off her gently. Impressed, Kohaku admits she's grown fond of the sorcerer Senku. Kohaku expresses her admiration for Senku, but he dismisses the idea of a relationship. She invites him to her village to gather allies against Tsukasa, hoping to strengthen Senku's kingdom of science. While helping Kohaku carry water for her sick sister Ruri, Senku builds a makeshift car to transport them down the mountain. Upon reaching the village, two guards, Kinro and Ginro, refuse entry to Senku, but are fascinated by his sorcery when he creates soap bubbles. Senku soon meets Chrome, a self-proclaimed sorcerer who challenges him to a battle of wits. Senku easily sees through Chrome's tricks, and they bond over science. Chrome reveals his collection of materials and plants, hoping to cure Rudy's illness. Impressed, Senku agrees to help and plans to create an antibiotic to save her. This marks the beginning of their alliance to revive science and challenge Tsukasa's empire. The villagers are suspicious of Senku's origins, and Kohaku's father, Kokuyo, is furious when he learns she broke the rules by bringing him. Rudy's illness worsens and she collapses. Outside the village, Senku plans to cure Rudy by creating an antibiotic, choosing the stone route to make sulfa drugs from rocks, as it's safer than using moss to make penicillin. Chrome and Kohaku agree to help. Senku teaches them about magnets and Earth's rotation, leading to Chrome creating a more accurate compass. They gather iron sand from the river to make iron, but their attempts fail due to insufficient temperature. Suika, a village girl with poor vision, volunteers to help and gathers valuable information about the villagers' desires, revealing they want better food. Senku seizes this opportunity and creates ramen from foxtail millet, surprising Chrome, Kohaku, and Suika with the delicious dish. Senku, remembering real ramen, finds it lacking but hopes the food will win over the villagers. The enticing aroma of ramen spreads, and Senku believes it will help him gain their support for his scientific mission. Senku serves fox millet ramen to the villagers, winning them over with the delicious dish. While Chrome tries to share it with the guards, Kinro and Ginro, only Kinro accepts. News of the food reaches the village chief. Senku plans to gain everyone's support to power his furnace. A mysterious man, Gen Asagiri, appears, mentioning cola and using terms from Senku's time. Kohaku and the guards question him, suspecting he's from Tsukasa's side. Gen admits he's with Tsukasa, but switches allegiance depending on who seems to be winning. Senku believes he can win him over and prepares to build a generator. A thunderstorm arrives, and Senku's group prepares to capture lightning to create a magnet. Kohaku improvises with Ginro's spear to make a lightning rod, successfully transforming it into a magnet. Senku's team builds a man-powered generator, with Gen convincing the guards to help by sinking their cranks. Senku, inspired by Edison, creates a bamboo light bulb to illuminate the night for the first time in 3,700 years, proving that science can conquer darkness. Gen, still skeptical, wonders if Senku can truly use electricity. After a year and 4 months, Senku successfully rediscovers electricity, marking a major milestone in reviving civilization. Proud of his progress, Senku smiles and Chrome gets excited. They discuss the possibility of Gen being an enemy, but Gen remains indifferent, admitting he's unsure about choosing sides. Gen recalls being revived by Tsukasa, who shared his goal to build an empire without old people, and warned Gen about Senku's intelligence. However, Gen is later attacked by Magma and his group, but fakes his death using bags of blood. Senku and the others treat his wounds, and Suika vows to find out who attacked him. Magma plans to target Kohaku next. Kohaku explains Magma's past actions and how she won the village's grand bout to prevent him from marrying her sister, Ruri. Chrome realizes they must stop Magma from winning the bout this year and becoming village elder. Kohaku trains Kinro and Ginro to help defeat him, while Chrome prioritizes curing Ruri. Senku and Gen have a quiet conversation, with Gen ultimately returning to Tsukasa, claiming Senku is dead. Gen's trust in Senku grows after Senku promises to make cola, even in a stone world. Gen deceives Tsukasa, confirming Senku's death, and the Kingdom of Science secures a victory, with Senku planning to make a chilled bottle of cola. Kohaku continues to train Kinro and Ginro for the grand bout, pushing them hard to prepare for the fight to save Ruri. Senku, meanwhile, focuses on advancing their chemistry knowledge. He tells Chrome and Suika that the next step is creating glass, a fundamental material in chemistry. Suika, who struggles with terrible eyesight, wears a watermelon on her head to help her see better, thanks to the pinhole effect. Senku explains that glasses made from glass were used in his time to correct vision. Moved by the idea, Suika expresses her hope to see the world clearly through science. The group collects quartz sand to make glass, and Senku successfully creates lenses to fit into Suika's watermelon helmet, allowing her to see clearly for the first time. While Kohaku continues training for the bout, Kinro struggles with his spear fighting due to his own vision issues, which he hides. Senku realizes the potential of improving Suika's vision and begins work on making glass instruments. However, without experience, the group struggles to create proper tools. Senku decides to enlist the village craftsman, Kaseki, for help. Initially reluctant, Kaseki is eventually persuaded to use his skills after being tortured by seeing the group fail repeatedly. Kaseki crafts perfect glass instruments, and soon the Kingdom of Science has its own lab, bringing Senku back to his childhood memories of his father. Meanwhile, Ginro suggests making shiny spears for the Grand Boot, and Senku agrees to search for silver, knowing it will be a challenging task. Senku creates a silver spear, impressing Ginro, but the tool is more than just for show, it's a sensor for danger. The group, including Senku, Chrome, Kohaku, and a reluctant Ginro, journeys to collect sulfuric acid, a key ingredient for making sulfa drugs. As they near a toxic green spring, the spear reacts to deadly hydrogen sulfide, saving Ginro's life thanks to Kohaku's quick reflexes. This reinforces how dangerous their task is. Back at camp, Senku devises gas masks to safely collect the acid. Despite Senku's plan to go alone to protect Chrome, Chrome insists they go together, arguing their teamwork improves survival odds. Kohaku reflects on her sister Ruri's struggles, teasing Chrome about marriage, though it ends in playful banter. Equipped with gas masks, the scientists head back to the spring, leaving Ginro behind. But Ginro, inspired by Kaseki's advice to embrace fear, joins them. Disaster strikes when Chrome nearly falls into the spring. Ginro, terrified yet determined, saves Chrome just in time, overcoming his fear. Together, the trio secures the sulfuric acid. Senku, Chrome, and Ginro return triumphant with sulfuric acid, marking a major milestone in crafting the sulfa drug. Kohaku eagerly asks if they're ready to cure Ruri, but Senku explains there's still work to do. Using sulfuric acid, salt, and electricity, he creates a series of dangerous chemicals, thrilling him but alarming Kohaku, who questions their safety. Senku reassures her that alcohol is the final ingredient, conveniently the prize for the village's Grand Boot tournament. With Ruri's fate on the line, Senku enters the bout alongside Chrome, Ginro, and Kinro. The plan? Rig the games so Kinro wins, securing the alcohol. Kohaku reluctantly agrees, but chaos ensues when Kinro is matched against Magma, the strongest competitor in round 1. To make matters worse, one of Magma's lackeys tricks Kohaku into leaving the arena by claiming Suika is in danger. Despite his determination, Kinro struggles due to his blurry vision. Suika, freed from being tied to a tree, rushes back and helps by giving Kinro her signature watermelon helmet. With clear vision, Kinro turns the tide, outmaneuvering Magma with science-enhanced precision. Victorious, he reveals he could have surpassed Magma long ago had he embraced science earlier. After defeating Magma with the help of Suika's mask, Kinro seems to secure victory, until Magma sneaks up and knocks him out, shattering the mask and taking an underhanded win. Magma had exploited Kinro's moment of fairness while confirming the mask didn't violate rules. In the next match, Chrome faces Mantle in what looks more like a kid's brawl. Spotting Kohaku returning, Magma orders Mantle to throw the fight. Kohaku arrives late but hugs Suika, relieved she wasn't really drowning. Senku wins by default, and Ginro's match follows. High on confidence and Senku's doping leaves, Ginro barely beats Argo but is sidelined after overindulging the raw medicine. In the semifinals, Chrome faces Magma but is quickly overpowered. Magma taunts Ruri, prompting Chrome to grab Suika's broken mask. He cleverly uses its lens, enhanced with sweat, to ignite Magma's clothes. Jen appears mid-fight, faking a curse on Magma to stall him for Chrome's 60-second fire trick. As flames erupt, Chrome delivers a knockout punch, sending Magma into the water. With only Senku, Chrome, and Ginro remaining, the Kingdom of Science secures the grand bout victory, edging closer to creating the cure-all for Ruri. After winning the grand bout, Ginro announces he and Senku will forfeit, allowing Chrome to marry Ruri. However, Ruri declares she'll marry the winner, regardless of preference. Misunderstanding, Ginro takes his semifinal match against Senku seriously. He fantasizes about becoming village chief, riling up the crowd. But Senku uses Suika's mask as leverage, delivering a low blow that knocks Ginro out. In the finals, Senku plans to lose to Chrome, but Chrome is unconscious. Left with no choice, Senku is declared the winner, making him both Ruri's husband and the village chief. He immediately divorces Ruri and takes the alcohol prize to continue making the sulfa drug. Back at the lab, Senku completes the 25-step process to create antibiotics, despite a small explosion along the way. He also gifts Jen a bottle of cola as a thank you. With the medicine ready, Senku gives it to Ruri, diagnosing her with pneumonia. Though the treatment initially seems risky, Senku's cure ultimately works. Ruri fully recovers, and the villagers celebrate Senku's achievement. Kokuyo declares Senku the new chief of Ishigami village, shocking him when Ruri reveals she knows his full name, Senku Ishigami. After Senku is declared chief of Ishigami village, he's stunned to learn the village bears his name. Seeking answers, Ruri approaches him and begins to explain the truth, connecting Senku's present to a long-lost past. Years ago, a young Senku was curious about why the moon seemed to follow him. His father, Byakuya, teased him with a joke before explaining the science behind it and lamenting his own failed dream of becoming an astronaut. Determined to help his dad, Senku devised unconventional training methods, including a suit that electrocuted Byakuya into swimming properly. Thanks to Senku's relentless support, Byakuya finally passed the astronaut selection process and joined a mission to the International Space Station, ISS. In space, Byakuya bonded with a diverse crew. Shamil, a Russian cosmonaut, Daria and Yakov, European doctors, Connie, a NASA scientist, and Lillian Weinberg, an American singer with a surprising sense of humor. They shared laughter, music, and camaraderie until tragedy struck. From orbit, the crew witnessed a strange phenomenon, humanity on Earth turning to stone, leaving only the ISS occupants as survivors. Byakuya, heartbroken but resolute, vowed to return to Earth and rebuild civilization. In the present, Senku confirms Ruri's revelation. Ishigami village was founded by his father and the ISS crew, the only humans who escaped petrification. After Earth was petrified, Senku and Byakuya both investigated the event. Senku calculated when it happened, and Byakuya deduced it began in South America. Against protests, Byakuya returned to Earth, rescuing stranded astronauts from the Pacific. They settled on an island, but found no other survivors. Over time, the group faced hardship, with Connie and Shamil dying from pneumonia. Byakuya and Lillian raised children, with Byakuya writing 100 stories about Earth for Senku, including instructions to find him in Japan. After Lillian's death, Byakuya fulfilled his promise to Senku, leaving behind hope for his son's future. 3,700 years later, Senku, now chief of the village, learns of Byakuya's final message from Ruri. Senku envisions his father encouraging him to succeed. Returning to the village, Senku learns from Gen that Tsukasa and his army are coming to attack, sparking Senku's eagerness to confront them with science. Gen warns Senku that Tsukasa's army is approaching, led by the newly revived Hyoga. Guarding the bridge, Kinro faces the army, knowing he's outnumbered. He holds his ground, but Hyoga exploits Kinro's bad eyesight, stabbing him. Despite being injured, Kinro grabs Hyoga's leg and urges the others to cut down the bridge. Ginro hesitates, but Senku bluffs with gunpowder. With Magma's help, they create a distraction, forcing Hyoga's retreat. Hyoga realizes Senku is alive. Expecting an attack during a storm, Senku prepares katanas for defense. When Hyoga's forces attack, the village's fighters armed with katanas easily defeat the enemy's weapons. Hyoga, however, proves tough with his spear skills. Kinro, Kohaku, and Magma fight him, but Hyoga discovers a precise cut on his spear, realizing Gen has betrayed them. Gen confirms his betrayal, returning to Senku with a small blade. Tsukasa revives Hyoga and tests his strength, allowing him to fight 10 men at once. Hyoga easily defeats them, impressing Tsukasa. Tsukasa shares his vision of a new world, free from the old privileged class, and informs Hyoga that he had to kill Senku to prevent the revival of the old world. Later, Hyoga distracts Senku and his group by praising their teamwork, while Homura sneaks into the village and sets it on fire. The villagers take refuge in the science shed. But Homura sets another fire. Suika becomes a decoy to help, and Senku and Kohaku save her from a poison cloud. Hyoga realizes Senku's power over chemicals and metals, deciding they need overwhelming force to defeat him. Senku knows Tsukasa will expand his army and recognizes that they can't make more gunpowder. To gain an advantage, Senku decides to build a cell phone to communicate secretly and coordinate attacks. Hyoga informs Tsukasa that Senku is still alive and has considerable scientific knowledge. Senku and Gen predict Tsukasa's next moves, knowing he will wait until spring to attack. Tsukasa worries that Senku might strike first, so he places spies to watch Taiju and Yuzuriha. Meanwhile, Hyoga stations Homura to observe Ishigami village, but both sides lack proper communication technology, which is critical in war. Senku explains to Chrome and Kaseki how a phone works, starting with voice vibrations, creating electrical currents. The team begins crafting a cotton candy machine to test their gold thread production method for the phone. Using sugar instead of gold, the villagers enjoy their first taste of cotton candy. Senku leaves some for Homura, hoping to gain her trust. Initially reluctant, she eventually tries it. The cotton candy machine produces lumps, signaling an issue that could affect the gold wire. They realize the problem lies with the machine's rotation speed, and Senku decides to create gears using Kohaku's shield. Chrome and Kaseki get inspired and build a water wheel, which surprises Senku. He combines it with their generator, creating a hydroelectric power plant, marking a major step toward their goal. Senku builds a hydroelectric power plant and starts creating batteries using sulfuric acid and lead, allowing energy storage. This eliminates the need for manual labor on the generator, making the villagers happy as they can now conserve food and prepare for winter. Senku moves on to making light bulbs, using mercury to remove air and prevent the bulbs from burning. As snow falls, Senku tests the new lights, reminding Gen of Christmas. With new equipment, Chrome wants to explore caves for new materials. Although Senku tells him they have what they need, Chrome insists on gathering copper. Meanwhile, Senku and Kaseki work on vacuum tubes, but face repeated failures due to metal expansion and burning filaments. Despite trying bamboo, it still fails. At night, Suika finds a glowing rock, and Senku realizes it's skilite, a source of tungsten, perfect for modern filaments. Senku plans to explore deeper into the cave with Chrome and Magma to retrieve more tungsten, seeing it as their next step in progress. Senku, Chrome, and Magma head to a cave to collect materials for their science projects. Magma seems suspicious, and Chrome worries he may try to kill them and take control of the village. Inside the cave, they fall into a natural pit. Magma initially acts threatening, but when the ground collapses, he saves Senku, admitting that even though he once planned to kill them, he's now more focused on helping them defeat Tsukasa. Together, they escape the pit, using a clever plan involving water and teamwork. They continue exploring the cave, find valuable materials, and dig them up. On the way back, magma ties Senku's eyes, leading him to believe they're preparing to betray him. However, it's a surprise birthday celebration instead. Jen and the others reveal a handmade astronomy telescope and observatory as a gift. Jen explains that they figured out Senku's birthday from earlier conversations and from his carvings at the Miracle Cave when he first revived. The heartfelt gesture shows the group's growing bond and their respect for Senku's leadership. Senku's team is closer to their goal after acquiring tungsten. Magma crushes the tungsten into dust, and Senku uses chemistry to purify it by heating it to 1,000 degrees in hydrogen. Chrome works on creating a pinpoint heating mechanism while Senku handles the chemical process. Both succeed, and they create tungsten filament. Next, Senku needs a complex glass vacuum pump, the Hickman pump, and Kaseki enthusiastically takes on the challenge. Meanwhile, Senku makes plastic and heaters to help the villagers stay warm during the cold. This allows everyone, from children to elders, to contribute by making wire. Jen, tasked with making 800 zinc-carbon batteries, is overwhelmed but continues working. For the microphone, Senku uses Rochelle salts to convert sound into electricity. Together, they complete all tasks and successfully build a cell phone, bringing their scientific efforts one step closer to communication in the stone world. After building a cell phone, Senku reveals they'll need 2 units for proper communication, though they can use one as a landline. Chrome, encouraged by Ginro, talks to Ruri about science, while the village marvels at this breakthrough. Ruri mentions a tale about a bee named Speaker, leading Senku to realize something hidden in the village graveyard. They uncover a time capsule left by Senku's father, Byakuya, containing a glass disc, an audio record. Using technology they've developed, Senku builds a record player and hears Byakuya's voice, followed by a song sung by astronaut Lillian. The villagers are moved by the music and inspired by Senku's promise of restoring modern entertainment once they defeat Tsukasa. This emotional moment unites them, boosting their resolve to fight. Meanwhile, Taiju and Yuzuriha eagerly await reuniting with Senku as Tsukasa and Hyoga prepare for the upcoming battle.